Hey, everybody. Happy Sunday. Hold on, the music's a little loud, I think. Jeff, how are the levels? My name is Andy. Welcome to Logik Live number 141. I am super excited for today. We are going to be looking at our favorite Matchbox shaders. This is part one of a two-parter, and who knows, we may end up doing like a third or a fourth as people keep coming to me and saying, hey, I've got some great Matchbox stuff I want to show. But who's here? I see Mark Wellington is here, Austin Campbell. Thank you for the feedback. Positive feedback, David Kreitz. I see BJ's here. Michael Landon is in the house. Good evening, Finn. Hello, Sybil. Oh, this is great. All my favorite people are here for my favorite thing, which is Logik Live. Brooks is here. Stephen Beecher. I see Phil Mann. Jan. All right. And that was it. Wow, that ended quick. I got so used to the classic music. Here we go. Hey, everybody. My name is Andy. Welcome to Logik Live number 141. We're going to be talking Matchboxes. I want to give a shout out to our friend and fellow Logik friend, Jeff Kyle, who wished me best of luck today. And he told me that he was absolutely convinced that the slideshow was not going to fail today. I have abandoned the slideshow because it's failed twice. And we're just going to get right into Logik Live. Johnny Fegan is here. I see Phil. Tim Farrell is here. Oh my goodness, this is great. Yes. Thank you, Jan, for honoring the shirt. I got this from our friend Ivar in 2014. I think this is a 10-year-old shirt, and it's back when he was doing at peak Matchbox production. But we're here to talk Matchboxes today. Matchboxes for all of you out there who are new to Flame. Are shaders that are like plugins that you can write yourself. The community has written a bunch of them, and they can be used for anything, any kind of image processing. There's a bunch of them that ship natively with Flame, and then there's a whole collection of Logik Matchbox shaders that are available on the Logik portal. But we're going to dive right in here today. The idea for the show it came to me. I was having dinner with a bunch of Flame artists, which is one of the things I love to do. And I kind of went around the table and asked everybody, what are your favorite Matchbox shaders? And then that led to the question on the forum. And here we are today. So I have two wonderful guests today to kind of help me out with Matchbox shaders. I'm going to bring them on. We have coming to us live via the internet from the great state of Vermont, a man whose first name I share and whose friendship I am very, very grateful for, a former Render Dome champion, and the guy who gave me this belt buckle, which says the world's best flame artist, and I wear it with pride, and I also wear it, just as like a conversation starter. Ladies and gentlemen, Andy Dill. Let's give it up for Andy Dill. I have an applause button here somewhere.
Oh.
There we go.
Yeah.
Nice to see you, Andy Dill. How have you been?
I've been all right. Staying busy.
Excellent.
enough.
Excellent. And we are live grading Andy Dill right now. I'm very excited about this. Hopefully, he was coming to us in some other color space, and I've been using the tools here in Ecamm to grade him, and I think I'm doing well. I was never really grading, was never really my strong suit, so we're just going to leave it at that. And then coming to us also via the internet from all the way in Oslo, Norway, another good friend of ours, someone who I am so blessed that I got to spend time with twice in the last 12 months, and I'm looking forward to seeing him again in person soon. The wonderful, the talented, the Prince of Particles, your friend and mine, Sinan Vural. Let's give it up for Sinan. Hold on, there we go.
Hey.
There we go. Also, I love the shirt. That was another Ivar classic, right? Like from NAD?
No, actually, this is from Autodesk.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That's from Autodesk.
Yeah,
well, you know what? It reminds me of Ivar, and so we're gonna applaud again for that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Ivar.
How have you been, Sinan?
I'm okay.
Is there any daylight left where you are in Oslo, or are we in winter night right now?
It's quite dark now. I mean, it's
okay.
Sun
not emotionally or spiritually, but the sun, yeah.
And then sets at 5.
Gotcha. Well, I want to thank you for. Well, I guess what time is it there? It's after 8. It's after 8 p.m. It's already dark there, so that's fine. We missed it. There's really no reason to be outside. I'm glad you're here with us on Logik Live. So we're gonna jump right into it here. I wanted to remind everybody. Thank you, Quinn. Yes, that's the 25th anniversary shirt. Thank you. We are going to dive right into this. If anybody has any questions, please be sure to put them in the chat, and I'll make sure that they get to Andy and to Sinan. But we're going to start with our friend Sinan, and we're going to take a look at his flame. Let me bring that up here. There we go. Wow. So far, Jeff, this is the best technically executed show I've had in 3 weeks. Let's get right down to it. Sinan, what do you have to show us?
Well, I've got like two nice image thingies, infill blur, and here and there you're going to see the noise again from Ivar. Infill blur, I was filled in by Randy about its importance in flame.
Wait, you were filled in about infill from Randy McEntee?
Yes, pun intended.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So a lot of us, me included, we use this for like extending the edges, like pixel spread. But I found other uses for it. So maybe that I usually use perspective grid. So I was given the job to like replace this label here. So the first thing that I did was to actually paint this. It is going to be slower, but I'm just going to show it. So I painted out this bestseller and 12 sticker because it's too like at the edges of the image. But once I did that, I realized I could create a G mask and even a G mask tracer. And the tracer, I love it. It gives me this.
I always forget about I swear, I always forget about the tracer function of the GMask tracer, even though it's
GMask tracer is like
yes.
It's a great tool. It is a great tool. I use it a lot for like local keys and stuff, especially for isolating areas and like weirdly colored non-keyable stuff. But it gives me like this brownies thing, and I will like mangle it a little bit with matte edge. And when I use infill blur with this matte, I get this perfectly graded, shaded, yet unprinted label.
I swear, man, like even Jeff just said here, it's easy to forget about the tracer part of GMask Tracer. I always forget about infill blur, and it's one of the reasons I'm excited for today's show, because you get into like these ruts where you just keep using the same tools over and over and over again in the course of your day. And so, and just Sinan, I just want to, I've seen your perspective grid stabilizing. Not just I think you did it on Logik Live, but I know you did it out at Vegas at NAB, and it is spectacular. And if you just look at this, it's like you take a task that seems like it's going to take hours and hours and hours, and once it's stabilized, it becomes a whole different thing. So love it.
So after you're done, I just turned off the paint node here, so it's more interactive. I already have like what I'm going to put there with the new label, and I just slap it on. And the texture is there, the lighting changes is there. So it's just about putting it back into the perspective grid and putting it back on.
That's great.
And I just love infill blur. It's like a great tool, basically.
Oh, 100%.
The other thing that I wanted
I think the last time I used infill blur, the last time I used it, I think, was to get rid of a logo on the back of a laptop, and it worked like perfectly. I don't want to say what the logo was or who made the laptop, but that's one of those things where like the back of a laptop, just like this bag, is a reflective surface. There's always a gradient, even if you don't think there's one on there, and there's always moving light and shadows, and so
absolutely light changes.
Tool,
it just works great. So the other Matchbox I want to show is lumps. LS lumps, I guess. Now in 2025.1, I guess we have the frequency separation built in. But before that, I used lumps. I still use lumps because it's so easy for me to use. So lumps is this frequency separation tool. So you have your image, of course, like I'm going to show this over a perspective grid corrected image again, so never mind this extension. So I have this cake, and they want to, let's say, remove the cracks on this side, right? Perspective grid stabilized. And then lumps gives me three outputs: color, lumps, detail. So I turn them off one by one, and I want to work on the detail. So lumps has three outputs, and then downstream you use the front as the front, and then the three inputs to recombine inputs. So
Oh,
if you
wow.
check this button, it recombines all your inputs. So of course we need to, for this one, I need to work on the detail. But before that, it's actually worth noting probably that even if you do not separate them and then combine them, you got like tools here for adding contrast in separate channels. So you can adjust the contrast in the detail, or you can gamma up the detail gamma, or like you give it some more texture. So playing around with these buttons, with these sliders, will give you some contrast and gamma and blur in that specific channel. So even if you don't want to like separate it, work on it and put it again, there is also some stuff that you can directly work on the Matchbox itself. So
Wow.
separated, let's get this to the original. So painted, like recursive clone, nothing special. From Let's select these, and there. I'm of course playing on the whole sequence, minus infinity to infinity and beyond. And when we combine it, it's just like this is like the detail channel is painted, so it comes out like a properly painted, well, not properly, but flattened out texture. Remove the cracks and everything, but you can do other stuff there as well. So if you got a logo there, the client wants it to be put onto the cake. I have this Logic logo mangled using crop grunge, which was talked about on the forum. So this is a great small little matte grunger matchbox. It gives you different types of noises, so you can play around with the edges of your mat to give it a more, let's say, organic look. And I use here the novel bump displace node, and I add like a light source to it, maybe. And if I connect it to the lumps again, let's check how it looks. There you are.
Oh,
And
wow.
maybe turn the shade off. No, sorry, shade. I should maybe
Instant
get, yeah, maybe this one. Yes.
instant fudge icing.
Yeah,
I
so
love it.
shading the cake, using it with its mat to uh, cut it out, and then I can use this to like honey bunny effect.
Oh, that's great. I love
So
it. So wait, so
combining it, and
LS lumps
then
is in the is a Logic Matchbox, and then the bump displace is
that's
that's one of the stock ones that comes
inbuilt
with
mode
Flame.
bump displace.
Oh, it's just a straight up node in action. I
Yeah,
mean, in batch rather. Wow.
it's in batch. Yeah,
I really should watch Logic Live more.
yeah, you should. So that's the lumps for me, at least. I mean, there are a lot of other uses for it. For, I don't know, maybe you want to like blur the structure of it. So you only, if I bypass this, there is this light change or uh, smoother frequency image, and you can flatten it out just by playing with the lumps channel here. And of course, you can like paint it in a general sense and use that to change color of a specific area without changing the details for it.
That's great.
But I mean, there are other applications there are other approaches that uses the same frequency separation. The new I haven't played around with it recently, but not everybody I know, me included, has 2025. So it's a great way to play around with lumps if you're pre 2025.
That's wonderful. And let's hear it for purple lines and connections.
Yes, purple lines.
I've never seen those in batch either.
Yeah, those are specific to lumps, I think.
Yeah, I swear, like LS lumps is one of those things, one of those Logic Matchboxes I've never used. I looked at it and assumed by its name that it was some kind of displacement. You know, it was used to create like a displacement texture or a bumpy texture or
Right.
something. I
Okay.
never would have thought it was this, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Love it.
So the last one is not as useful, but this is, I think it was developed in Lewis Sanders, was it? LS? Yeah. So he won the second place in One Frame of White in 2014, implementing computational fluid dynamics with input and output, write nodes and read nodes when we didn't have the accumulation buffer accessible in the matchboxes. So
Yes.
later on, he created, put them all into a matchbox. So LS Fluid is not as useful, but it's a lot of fun to play around with. In LS Fluid, it's basically computational fluid dynamics. So you have two jets, one here and one here, because it depends on the previous calculation of the previous frames. It's not interactive, so it like resets itself. So you have to go to the first frame and press play. I mean, as is, it's not that, let's say, exciting. But
It's dynamic
also,
though. It may not be exciting, but it is dynamic.
it is. So the default values of the noise here, noise power, also makes this whole image go bonkers with fluids. But the great thing about this is if you turn the jets off to 0 and 0, and from the options you turn the noise down, and then you can feed it, let's say, vectors, motion vectors. So green points up, red points right, like in a UV. So I'm multiplying it with the noise to make it like patchy, and this is my fluid emitter. So this area is going to push the image up, and this area is going to push the image right. And when you press play, you can see that it's like those
It's so
particular
great.
thin tendrils give it like a really smoky feeling.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, I use this paint node, right? Now to direct the flow to the left, you need minus thread. So if I go into the edit and turn this blend to subtract, I'm not going to see anything. But now this image is going to flow up and left.
Oh wow.
So you can direct your image using either paints or some, if you track the motion and use that UV. But I found that you can also animate an axis like this and use its, where is it? Where is it? There it is. Use the, hello. That was something else, sorry. If you use the motion vectors coming from here, you can actually write stuff.
Oh, look at that.
Make that, I mean, this is
Oh,
me
that's excellent.
actually, let me show it to you from scratch. So I go draw motion curve, and let's make this motion. And I need to put that right click, apply motion curve X, and right click, apply motion curve Y. And I had some other animation in the Z channel just for fun. And you see this axis just moving along.
Mm-hmm.
And let's make this bigger. I had turned down the game probably because it's going to be too much. So now that
Wow.
motion is dragging the fluid
So
where
all
I'm
you had to
moving
do
the
was
axis.
add an output in action and output a motion vector channel. Is that what you
Yeah,
did?
I am using just the motion vector
Oh
channels. So
wow.
this gain was 11. There was an actual reason for that apparently because otherwise it's too powerful.
Damn.
So you can like paint your name or use another animation to drive it. There are also other outputs. I'm just going to turn this to the red green thing just for easier, just to explain it easier.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm using this again. You also have like motion, what's this called? Vectors output. So from the options, you can output velocity, the image, EWA filtering, UVs, or vectors. So I'm outputting the vectors from this one, and I can use that image to motion blur this flow, right?
Okay.
Because normally it's like maybe too sharp, but if you look at the icons and scale them up, you can actually see where the
Oh
fluid
wow.
is going in the motion blur node, and like add some blur to it, so it's more softer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the balance moves it like back and forth.
Oh
It's like
wow.
the what's it called? Bias. It's like a
Yeah.
bias. So you can output vectors and use it with motion blur, or you can output UVs and use that downstream in your action, or you can use that in a sister or a brother matchbox called Advect,
Mm-hmm.
which is again adds to that liquidy or heat hazy feeling.
Cool.
Slightly different than crop distort and works great with fluids like this.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I was going to show you. Any questions?
Excellent. Yeah. First of all, hold on. Round of
Yeah.
applause.
Woohoo!
Jeff had a question. Just it says it was hard to see the nodes. Can you just go back to the schematic and zoom in to see the connections from? So the vectors are coming out of. I'm going to turn
Vectors
off
are
my.
coming out of. So these are duplicates of the same matchbox, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
output for this one, which is making the fluid, is set to image or image EWA filtering.
Mm-hmm.
But this one is set to vectors. So these are the motion vectors. And this is set to UVs. So this is the distorted UVs that you can use
Mm-hmm.
downstream.
Sweet.
And you can also export velocity and position map.
Excellent. Love
Yeah.
it. Sinan, everybody's loving this. You got Marius is saying it's incredible. BJ is saying amazing. Our friend Jan is calling it fantastic.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
not
think Quint.
useful, but if you can find a use for it, please do let us know.
Oh,
Like
sure.
if you can find out some way to make this look like an actual smoke, maybe. Oh, there is one other thing that I forgot to show you guys. Sorry. About the same thing, you can also the noise. We can also paint. Let's try to you can also paint barriers to it,
Ooh.
to your fluid. So if we connect this to the input 3, and I should probably max this so it doesn't freak out. And let's see how that works.
Oh,
So the
wow.
whites act as barriers for the fluid on your mat.
That's excellent. Damn. I
Yeah,
guess
so
you
you
know.
can do like a interesting logo reveal. I don't know.
Love it. Love it. There are two comments here in the chat that just kind of, I think, are perfectly put. Ikut says, Sinan Vural always one step beyond, which I have to agree with. And then I think Quinn said it best. Sinan making the complex look simple, man. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much. Let's see. There's still praise coming in. Nice. All right. Well, if anybody has any other questions for the stuff that Sinan showed, just please put it in the chat, and we'll come back to him. But Sinan, that was amazing. Thank you, man.
All right.
Appreciate it
Let's
as
move on
always.
to Mr. Dill.
Yes, we're going to dissolve here to Brother Dill, who is looking very color balanced right now. I think I have what it takes to.
Oh yeah, that looks pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I love it. So, Brother Dill, you were going to show us some. I think it's probably fair to say that if Sinan focused on some of the LS Logik Matchbox shaders, you have a bunch of the Y ones that you're going to show. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was gonna bounce through a couple of things. I was gonna do a bit of Y lens blurs, which I love, and Y regular blurs, which I also love. And then I had two things. One, just on a weird lens aberration trick that I think is cool. Which is pretty quick. And then what else I got? An additive keyer thing, which is really just going to be a forum for me to complain about blue screens that are too bright.
Perfect. Let me give you a forum. Hold on. Let me bring your screen up here. And all right. Let's do it.
All right. So I just wanted to show off the additive keyer because I love it, and why I love it is because I don't have to be very good to get a very good result. And
Andy, if you could just do me one favor, and that is
Yeah.
just zoom in on the schematic. This is the one audience that like
Fair
geeks
enough.
out over every connection
I
and every
guess.
line.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice. So a little additive
is-
keying.
Yeah. So I've just got pictures of a phone, and one of them is too bright,
Just a touch.
and another one is very dark. And it's a pretty basic additive keyer setup in the sense that I just put a graphic in for the phone. I used the Y lens blur here, which we'll detail later.
Nice.
But it's so good. And so when you're doing one of these keys, right, you need a desaturated version, the original version, and the matte. So you plug in the original, desat, and then the graphic. And I just turn on Joel's version because that's like idiot proof. And most of the time, let me just reset this. So you turn on Joel's version, and then you just blend background up to 10. And usually that's when I walk away. I'm like, okay, great job. But you can,
it's time to submit my invoice. I'm done.
Well, I mean, what I find is because it's a really simple thing, like sometimes you can muck about with the gamma and stuff like that, turn off clamp, but it definitely, if things aren't nicely lit, you can run into a lot of problems really fast. That, basically just something like this isn't going to get you around. It's got 3 sliders. So it's not like, if I just was able to offset the background or something. So, yeah, just turn on Joel's version and then turn the background up to 10. The only other thing I did here that I wanted to show, because Josh was asking me about a long time ago, is I have this array of look nodes. Because in my nice comp here, or my not nice comp, you see.
Oh, yeah. You see this blue. Yeah.
And, maybe there's a king of despilling out there who could show me how to do this, but that's what the master keyer gave me. So I made a look node and I color corrected the finger. So let me turn my scope up. So I got to do 2, and then I got to find my frame again because that's always... So we got a scope, and oh, Jesus Christ. First time doing this.
No, you're good, man. I remember my first day using Flame too.
I know. It's hard.
It was very
hard,
stressful.
I think I'm doing pretty well for...
You are. Here. You've earned this.
So if you can see the scope over at the right, I just basically made the finger dot go towards the middle, right? I think I actually metered a little higher. But anyway, the idea is that if I made the finger a neutral color, I could then saturate everything and get the color I don't like to be a not finger color, right? So here you can see this.
I see, yeah.
Blue halo, and then you just put a color curve on that, and you make it all sort of fall in line. And then you just use a copy of the look node with the invert button down here turned on.
Yeah.
And then you copy the other look node, and you turn the invert button on there. You turn your scopes off, and it turns it right back to what you got. So you start with something like
Wait a
this.
minute. Don't gloss over this. Wait a minute. I was fighting with Spill just like this, like the other day. If you could just dwell on the look nodes for a second. For me, I remember the look node was introduced back when there was I think the first attempt to have some kind of luster round tripping or something like that. And I went well, that's something I don't do, so I'm never going to care about it. And then here it is, and this could be an absolute lifesaver.
It's great because it's got the invert button. That's why I use it.
Yeah.
You could technically do this with a color correct or something. But this is great because I don't need to know any math. I just, I make this look node, and then I copy it over here, and I just turn on the invert button, and it just reverses everything. So long as everything goes in an, sort of A, B, B, A order, you can... There are limits, if you go really hard on stuff, but I find it's really nice for things like this, where you're I just want everything to be this color. Skin all the time, right? You'll have one weird little fringe somewhere in the skin. So you pick the color you like, and you make that gray, and then you saturate everything else, and all of a sudden the piece you don't like is green or magenta or something. And you can kind of grab it with a keyer in a way that you couldn't if you were just looking at when everything's basically skin colored. So it's a nice way to sort of rearrange colors temporarily.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Damn.
I don't know how
nice. The chat is blowing up, Dill, as they say. People love this. Renee, everybody. I mean, just, wonderful. Okay, great. Great.
So there you go.
Good
4
to know.
look
I'm
notes.
bookmarking this one. Yeah, even Quinn said, I will be watching this nugget again. Absolutely. If there's
But
one
just to
thing that is a
complain about-
constant, is that there will be poorly shot blue and green screen.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I shot this well.
forever.
Right? I did. I mean, that's my desk. And I did shoot it in log, though, because I wanted to make sure it would stand up. But yeah, it's a handy trick. It doesn't always work. I use it regularly.
Nice.
And then this, I just wanted to show, that's the brightly lit green screen. And you got the overly bright edge. And there's the one where it's nicely lit and it just looks realistic. So that's why you don't overexpose your blue screens.
That's
Because
perfect.
they give you that overly bright edge when you're trying to pull really lazy keys. And yeah.
I'm all about the lazy keys.
We love the lazy keys.
Yes, and I think our friend Jeff may have nailed the official slogan here is he's going to give look another look, which is
There you
great.
go. Yeah, it's
10
great.
10 points to Gryffindor, Jeff. That was great.
It's it's very low effort. I like it.
Love it.
So that is my tutorial on how to see if the additive key is going to pull a key for you. And again, it's nice because you can, you're in and out in a minute, and you're like, oh, okay, this will give me nice edges, or this will do a whole nice thing. But it's It's a very good tool to have in the pocket.
Nice.
The next thing I wanted to show is using, zoom way in here, the JT Silens to adjust chromatic aberration, right? So like this is just off the Airy site, and you can see there's just this red-blue sort of fringing on the edges of the shot. And so with the Silens, I'll just reset it. So if you zero out everything, it won't, it just an image. But you can go in here to like the blue, and you type in 0.0001, and then you push up and down. And I don't even know how well this reads, but you can kind of shift the blue channel like lens-wise, right? So all on the edges in, and the red channel out. And again, it's like 0.0001.
Wait, this is like a negative chromatic aberration, like how to fix chromatic aberration. Oh my God!
So, and it just, just takes it out. But what's cool about that is, like the look node, it's got an invert button in the apply distortion. So you can take it out, do a comp, right? And then put it back in.
Oh,
and your comp
dude!
is all the little fringy stuff.
Dill!
So
Dill!
That's another favorite thing. But it's a big ass image, so you don't really see it. But every now and again, it's nice to just go the extra mile and get your little fringy comp stuff.
Get your fringe on.
And the only trick is, again, if you can see down here, my numbers are still reading 0. But if you go into like the animation channels, even then they're still basically reading 0. But yeah, because like if you use a normal number like 0.1, it's really doing a lot of work.
I'm sorry, man. Like the chat again is blowing up. Renee says she's screaming over here. Austin Campbell has my favorite one. I think is this guy comps, which is amazing. which is amazing. Sleeper bomb tip. What the hell coming from Marius, and this is fantastic from Mark. Like, I think, and Jeff again coming in with you're the king of the inverts, man. Absolutely.
That's the thing. That's all I ever want to do. I just want to, things I can invert. So I only have to get it right kind of once.
Oh my God. I have like meticulously recreated like chromatic aberration fringing to do exactly just that, where I've had to put a new logo on or a screen fill or something.
Mm-hmm.
I never ever in my wildest imagination thought that. I assumed that like JT Silens was just some way of using like lens distortion or like, something had to do with synthesize. I really had no idea.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, I think that's why it was made.
This is great.
This is a little thing that can be really nice.
Yeah. And again, I mean, so far the two things you've shown are where it's relying on, or you're depending on people shooting things poorly. And I'm assuming that's just something that happens to you on a regular basis. Me, everything I get is shot, pristine, 10 out of 10.
I will say, if any of my actual employers are watching, most of the stuff I work on is shot incredibly well.
Yep. Well done.
But with the lens thing, though, that's just like the lenses do that. Like I pulled this clip off the Airy website. I did. You need a sort of high contrast because it's all whatever. But
nice.
It's a nice trick.
All right. What else you got?
Little depth of fieldy stuff, because I just wanted to show why I love the Y lens blur.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I want to show is just what it does, right? So it's just in terms of an image, you can defocus an image. And what's great about this is, I'm just feeding it a gradient, and then you can pick your focal point. But you notice that it just immediately feathers out perfectly. Whereas if you go into the depth of field node, you get the stepping, and you can up your slices to 40, and we can watch that beach ball for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then you get, a slightly nicer result. But for a lot of time, a lot of things, just the value of very even transitions out of focus is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I love it because it's super fast and you can get quasi infinite steps.
And I'm sorry, can you show me the gradient you're feeding that?
Oh yeah, it's just a gradient.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Awesome.
Nothing complicated. And then here I just made this, just tilt shift, same deal. Just put the same gradient in and you can just pick the focal point.
It's great.
Yeah. And I've heard it doesn't work super well with depth maps, but most of the time I'm just drawing G masks to fake it, and it works super well with that stuff. And it's so fast.
It's great. Yeah, the stock depth of field node is like you said, it's very accurate, but it's really slow.
So
and
slow.
This is great.
Yeah. And the other thing I like about the node is sort of how it breaks stuff down. So if you just make like a paint stroke. Something like that. And then you can see what it's doing. It's just copying the image into a bunch of different places. So if you like raise the samples, you can see how it's like out of focus. But if you have like low samples, you can just get these weird squiggles and stuff, which is actually kind of useful if you want to do like a little lens flare effect. So here's just a lovely handheld video. Sorry, I never zoom in. Just some Christmas lights from last year nearby. And so I flipped the image and scaled it up, and then I ran it through the lens blur just to knock it out. So it's a bunch of different little kernelized versions of itself, and then you just screen it back over.
Oh, cool.
And you get something like that.
Yeah.
And what I like about this is you can kind of do a bunch of things. So you can turn it into like squares. I put too many samples up. Sorry, I'm going to break my machine. Let's do 20. But you can make it square, and you can make them really wide. And then you can do like a little bit of post blur on stuff. You can do like, I don't know. I use this for like lens flare enhancement, right? Where you just want to like add a little bit of kind of anti-travel and stuff. And I think because it's fast and you can change the shape of the kernel such that it becomes like a streak or other things, it's really, really quite nice.
Very cool.
So I like it a lot. I also like the default kernel that it makes. I think it's very pretty. And I think that's useful. Like even when you keep the samples a little bit low, I think all that stringy stuff has a nice sort of photographic quality, even if it's not like technically true. I think it on most images does nice things. And fast as hell. So
fast as hell. I think Quinn has the comment here. He nailed it. Don't let accuracy get in the way of a good blur.
Exactly.
That's right. Nice.
Exactly.
Amazing. I love it. All right. Big round of applause for Brother Dill. That was great stuff.
And the last thing I want to show, I got one more if we have.
All right.
We have time.
Yeah, we got time. Go for it.
We got time. I wanted to show just the Y blur because, like the lens blur, the Y blur has the ability to feed it a gradient so you can power how blurry things are. And it allows you to make kind of more realistic reflections. So, like, for example, we've got this shot of a spaceman dunking here, right? just brilliant work. And so what I rendered out is I I've got just the guy's reflection and the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the background. So I make a gradient, and I should set it to linear so it'll behave correctly. And then the other thing I did is I pulled a luma key on the ground.
Okay.
Just to get a little detail, and then I multiply those together so I get this sort of gradient with a little bit of crap in it. And then I feed that into Y blurs, and when I blur it, what's cool is I can sort of modify
Ooh, look at that.
things, and then when we put it back together, you've got this nice sort of blurry reflection, but when he goes closer to the ground, it'll be sharper.
Mm-hmm.
So
you get it for free. Oh, that's
you get
great.
it for free. It all just runs. So like, if I touch his toes to the ground, his toes are sharp.
Yep.
And then it gets blurrier as it goes down.
Oh,
Kinda
that's
like
excellent.
a real reflection. So you can do that. And then you could probably also, if you wanted to, where's my gradient? I need to negate that. Actually, I just do that. Yeah, just put the gradient through inverted so it'll fade out too. But yeah, it makes for really nice reflections. And you can do it kind of in 3D too, like inside of Flame. So like I got this cube over here, and then I've just got a flipped camera to render it out upside down. And I got a floor card texture. That should be right along. And a blur card, right? So the blur card is just going to govern how blurry this gets. Let me actually make the blur card go up. Do something like that. So now if I blur this out, influence with.
Oh, that's excellent.
And it'll give you you can get floor texture and crap in there too. So it's a nice way to make a little sort of soft focus.
Mm-hmm.
Diffusing
I
reflection.
love it. I think our friend Patrick said it best when he said, "Whoa." Perfect, man. I mean, this is all great. I'm still kind of pun intended, I'm floored by just the previous example you gave with the reflection on the floor. And the fall off is amazing, but multiplying the luma key of the floor texture in there so you get
because it messes
you
up
essentially
the
get
blur
physics
itself.
for you. Yeah. Oh my God, it's great.
And it always looks so nice. People are like, "Oh wow, what'd you do there?" And you're like, "I just multiplied two things together." But it gives it that real sort of, you get the little peaks and the little blurs, and I love it. I love it.
Perfect. Nice.
Little spaceman reflection on a basketball court.
That's great. That's great. Oh, wow. One more round of applause here. Hold on. That was just wonderful. Well, I'm going to bring both of you back up on camera here, and just I want to thank both of you. And if anybody has any questions or any other comments, put them in the chat. This was kind of like the perfect Logic Live episode for me. I mean, love it. I mean, because you both did all the work. But the reason, I mean, it's just there's 100 things to take away from the both of your presentations there, and it's just wonderful. I mean, and it also had the benefits of some kind of like unintended consequence, like the buried leads, like the look nodes and the, just even in Sinan, like you just showing that you can paint barriers to stop the fluids. I mean, it's great. And just LS lumps in general is just wild, but just fantastic work. Wow, I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat here. Yes, amazing show. So many nuggets of Jeff. I'm stunned. And Renee said it right there. You two are amazing. So I want to thank both of you for coming on, and I look forward to seeing you in the patrons chat in a couple minutes, where we'll dive a little bit deeper into some of our favorite Matchbox stuff. And to answer Austin's question, I'm going to answer your question in a minute. But thank you both, and we'll see you over on Zoom in a few minutes. Amazing.
Just to note, I think Rene asked for the setups.
Oh yeah.
And it's okay for me to share them. I will share them on the forum.
Oh great! Share them on the forum, and then send me the link. I'll host them and put it in the YouTube description as well. Wonderful. Thank you, friends. All right, I'm going to give away a couple of prizes, and we'll see you both over in Zoom in a few minutes.
Great.
Let's do it. All right, prize time. So I'm sure you all saw that our friends over at BorisFX have upped the game, and we're going to start giving away every week. We're going to start giving away a 1 month license of the entire BorisFX suite, so you can try out all the BorisFX plugins and see what you like for that month. Very thankful to our friend Brian and the whole team over at BorisFX. So let's. I'm clicking the wrong screen. Hold on, here we go. Let's shuffle the list and spin the big wheel. And it's going to Yola. Congratulations, Yola. Woo! All right. In fact, I'm so excited about this new prize. I'm giving away 2. So we're going to shuffle the list up one more time. And joining Yola will be Brian Bailey, ladies and gentlemen. The pride of Dallas, Texas. All right. And finally, I have 1 month of Logik Academy Pro to give away. Let's do that. Spin the big wheel one more time. And that's going to Greg Bennett. Congratulations, Greg. All right, very good. So let's go to the slideshow, which, God willing, will work. Yes, and so to answer, I think it was Austin's question, coming up on Logik Live in a couple of weeks. Hold on, let me switch. There we go. We're going to take off next week for Thanksgiving here in the States, and then on Sunday, December 1st, we're going to do part 2. I have Ted Stanley coming on to talk some Matchbox. He wrote a great one for animating a gradient with the wire removal Matchbox, and then I'm still working on another guest, and then I have a few Matchboxes and things like that I'm prepared to show. And then on the 15th of December, our friend Jeff Kyle is going to host Logik Live. We're going to have the latest from Mocha and Sapphire with the friends at BorisFX. If you haven't already signed up for the forum, please do. It's where all the great stuff is happening. And while you're there, be sure to join conversation on Logik Discord. Finn is on there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm half convinced he's trained like Finn GPT that actually answers for him while he sleeps, but I'll leave that up to the community to figure out. Latest episode of the Logik Podcast is number 58 with a great interview with flame artist Marguerite Steiner. Be sure to check that out. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, this is my favorite picture of the two of us, Dill. The YouTube channel, please go ahead and do that. And we want to thank all of our patrons at Patreon. We could not do this without you. That is the God's honest truth. If you'd like to support what we're doing here at Logik for as little as $5 a month and get access to some great extra content, including the conversations we have with our guests after Logik Live, just go to patreon.com/LogikTV and become a patron. The holidays are right around the corner, friends. Be sure to check out the Logik merch store to make sure that the flame artist in your life looks their best while they're doing their best. And be sure to use the, if you're in the market for anything from BorisFX, you can use the Logik affiliate link. Save yourself 15%, and you'll be supporting Logik at the same time. You can get those links at logik.tv/BorisFX. And I also want to give a shout out to our friends at Looper.io. If you need to share your screen or do a live session, there's nothing better out there than Looper, and you can't beat the price. You can get 1 month of their Plus plan for free if you're a new user by going to looper.io. And I'm sorry, the tinyurl.com/looper-logic. All this information is available in the sponsor area of the Logik.tv website. That's going to do it for Matchbox Part 1. Thank you, Andy Dill. Thank you, Sinan Vural. Thank you, everybody out there in Logic Land, for tuning in. We love you. Have a great week, everybody, and we will see you next time. Playing you out.